all continents put together will fit into Africa.
Theory of criminal investigation. Follow the rich white man.
Follow the rich white man?
Exactly, now you're learning. Every big crime has a rich white man behind it waiting for his cut. Now, in our case, we know who the rich white man is. Stephen Rain.
Who?
Stephen Rain, the hotel billionaire. I saw him on Ricky Tan's boat. When the shooting started, he was way too cool. And I'm gonna tell you something, when people start shooting, white people ain't that cool. They either running around, hiding behind tables, or screaming like, ah!
You sound like that all the time.
Let me tell you something about black people. When stuff goes down, we keep our cool.
If you create content for YouTube, this video is very important to watch as it describes changes to the upload process, all of your existing videos, and potentially your monetization. Hi, I'm Lauren, and I'm the head of family partnerships here at YouTube. I'm gonna go through important new requirements for all videos that you should take action on as soon as possible. I'll provide some background on what's happening, walk you through a new audience setting in YouTube Studio and how to use it, and then answer some questions you might have about this update. Back in September, we shared the steps we're taking to address a recent settlement with the US Federal Trade Commission that will help creators comply with the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, known as COPPA, and other applicable laws. In order to help you comply with the law, we're now required to ask you to mark all of your videos as made for kids or not. You know your videos and audience best, so we've launched a new audience setting that lets you tell us if your videos are made for kids or not. In addition to this setting, we'll use machine learning systems to help us find content that is clearly made for kids. But don't rely on our systems to set content for you. Like all automated systems, it's not perfect. If you don't set your audience, or if we detect error or abuse, we may set your audience for you. But in most cases, we'll rely on your audience setting to determine whether a video is made for kids. There are two ways to set your audience, at the channel level or at the video level. If you know that your whole library of videos is made for kids or not made for kids, you can set your audience at the channel level. To do so, go to Settings in YouTube Studio, then the Channel tab, then Advanced Settings, and from there, go to the Audience section and choose an option that best describes your channel. Doing this at the channel level will apply to all of your older videos too, so we encourage you to set your audience at the channel level as a first step. From there, if some of your videos don't align with your channel level setting, you can mark your audience at the video level. To mark your older videos as made for kids or not, go to the Videos tab in YouTube Studio, select which videos you'd like to edit, and go to Audience. You'll also be prompted to answer this question every time you upload a new video. On the Details tab on the video upload page, scroll to Audience and choose the option that best describes your video. Note that if you've already set your audience at the channel level, this will be automatically selected for you. But make sure to choose the option that makes the most sense for that specific video. Again, it's incredibly important that you take these steps to set your audience accurately. Now we realize this is a big change, so let's dive into some questions you may have. What's considered made for kids content? Per the FTC's guidance under COPPA, when deciding whether or not your channel or video is made for kids, you should think about factors like the subject matter of your video, whether children are your intended audience for the video, whether the video includes child actors or models, whether the video includes characters, celebrities, or toys that appeal to children, including animated characters or cartoon figures, whether the language of the video is intended for children to understand, whether the video includes activities that appeal to children, such as play acting, simple songs or games, or early education, whether the video includes songs, stories, or poems that appeal to children, and any other information you may have to help determine your video's audience. Ultimately, we can't provide legal advice, so we're unable to confirm whether or not your content is made for kids. That decision is up to you, taking into consideration these factors. But we want to help you follow the law as much as we can. Check out our help center and talk to a lawyer if you're still unsure whether or not your content should be marked as made for kids. How old is a kid? The age of a kid in the US is defined as anyone under 13, but the age of a child may be higher in other countries. So you'll need to consider the factors we just went through that apply to COPPA, in addition to any applicable local laws regarding children. Note that regardless of where you're based, COPPA generally applies. Be sure to consult a lawyer if you have questions. If you set your content as made for kids, what does this mean for your channel? We will start limiting the data we collect on made for kids content to comply with the law. Because of this, videos that you mark as made for kids will be treated differently on YouTube. Some features like comments will no longer be available. Most importantly, those videos won't show personalized ads, so some creators may see a decrease in revenue. What other features will no longer be available if I set my content as made for kids? Starting in January, if you mark a specific video as made for kids, features like comments, personalized advertising, info cards, end screens, and more won't be available on individual videos. If your entire channel is set as made for kids, your videos won't have any of those features. Your channel also won't have stories, the community tab, the notification bell, and your viewers won't be able to save to watch later or save to playlist. Keep in mind that these restrictions are to follow the law. For a full list of restricted features, visit our help center. What happens if YouTube's systems say my video is made for kids, but I disagree? Can I appeal? If you've not yet set your audience for your video, and YouTube has set it for you to comply with legal obligations, you can choose the option that you believe is correct for this video. If you've already set your audience for your video, and we detect error or abuse, you still have the option to use the Send Feedback button if you disagree. You can find this in your video's details tab in YouTube Studio. What happens if I mark my video's audience incorrectly? If you don't set your content appropriately, this may result in compliance issues for you under COPPA and other laws. And if we find that you're abusing our systems and intentionally marking your videos incorrectly, this may result in consequences for your channel or videos. We know this won't be easy for some creators, and that this required change is going to take some getting used to, but these are important steps to ensure compliance with the law. We're committed to helping you prepare for this transition, so if you'd like to learn more about this new setting, be sure to check out our Help Center. Thank you for watching.
So the next person on our roll call happens to be Puff Daddy and his twins and his baby mama, if that's what you want to call it, or the mother of his children, Kim Porter. And before we continue, we played you a clip about COPPA. COPPA came up on YouTube, or rather the government directed YouTube to say that people should now indicate if their videos are either made for kids or not made for kids. And it's such a terrible thing that saying this with all amount of heaviness, that the government can be so sneaky in the fact that they are the ones committing the atrocities upon the population, but they want you to believe that you are the one doing all this. Because if you look at the system the way it's designed in such a way to take your children from you. Because right now, the government, the state, has more power over your child than you do. Now, given the fact that people do abuse children, there are some men and women and parents who abuse their children, and abuse children in general, not just their child, because to me, every child is your child. So if you abuse a child, you are abusing the Creator's creation, because we were all children. It's one of the things that bothers me a lot, because a lot of people are so wicked to children. I'm going to give you so many examples. So for example, you find out there are people who say they don't date people with children. I do not understand how someone who was born a child could be that wicked to say that they don't date people with children. How were you born? Were you not once a child? Why would you say that you can't date someone that has children? That is the highest level of wickedness. And that shows you how wicked the population is. That someone who was born a child could now have the choice of saying that they don't want any children and that they do not want to date people with children. That's how this advanced society today is. And they forget the fact that they were once young children, like those children that they deny, who might need someone in their lives that they could call daddy or mommy, and you deny them because you say you can't date someone with children. Okay, let's narrate the story of what happened on COPPA. I think a couple of maybe months ago, the Senate or whatever is usual, who always like making laws to cover up their own wickedness and pass it on to the population as the population is being wicked. So for example, the government says that they have law and enforcement agencies against drugs and child trafficking, but they are the ones doing it. They have laws, or they are making organizations that go against child abuses, but they are the ones doing it. You see how twisted the whole system is? So they say that YouTube was fined, and let me show you how the government works, because with everything they do, they always try to put a monetary spin on it so that it could sound righteous, so it could sound right. But meanwhile, people forget that the government prints money from a printing press, and then they have the ability to create money on your computer by keeping a system of ledgers of numbers, because the money is not actually real. The currency you carry around is not real. They just change numbers and ledgers. They have the ability to produce it, so that means the amount of money they can make is limitless. But yet, they take your social security away from you. They won't pay you for the jobs that you're working from money they create freely. So money is a tool of control, is not actually real. The government uses money to control your mindset, because money is real to the population, it's not real to them. So with anything that they want to do to make it sound right, they put a money twist on it. So for example, right here, YouTube says that they got fined by the government because so many people are making videos, and some videos are made for kids that contain adult content. So in order to protect children, they have to make COPPA, they have to make everybody sign up a law, okay? And say that they should identify their videos as being either made for children or not made for children, so that YouTube doesn't get to incorporate more fines. So I want you to notice that trend, all right? Because this is not the end of COPPA. It's going somewhere else, but people don't see it, okay? They try to make that story sound organic to you, that people are making videos which contain adult content and are designed for kids. So in order to protect the children, people now have to make their videos or identify their videos to be either made for kids or not made for kids. All right? Now, that sounds like an organic lead up. So that means any consequences that come out of COPPA, when the public hear it, because the story and the foundation has been laid, they will believe that this was done in their own best interest, when it's the government covering up their wicked tracks. So what's happening here? So the tail end of what's going on here is that videos are going to be taken down by YouTube, because that's what they want. All right? And YouTube is always going to use the excuse that the government is the one fining YouTube, all right, for doing all this, for not keeping its house in order by making sure that people who have videos that contain adult information also contains kids information, and they pass it off to the kids, and they are trying to protect the children. The government in this story has forgotten to tell you that they own YouTube, because everything that we use in this world is owned by the government. They are the ones making it readily available to you. They use the intelligence of Africans, and they pay some Africans to do this, and shame on those Africans and black people whose intelligence are being used to devise wicked devices against humanity. The Creator will never forget you all for being wicked to its humanity, for getting paid at the blood and misery of others, and sitting in your houses and driving all your cars and sitting in your real estate and thinking that you are being great. The mercy of the Creator will never ever find you until you repent. And let me tell you something about repentance, which people don't understand. When you repent on something, you don't just say, oh, I repent. You must pay restitution for what you did. That means if you stole $1,000 from someone, you must pay that person $1,200, and you must publicly declare the evil that you did and ask for your forgiveness. You're not going to go behind closed doors and say, I repent. That's not real repentance. You have to pay restitution for what you did and publicly declare your wickedness on what you did. That's how you get repentance. So if you think that you're repenting in your house for the atrocities that you've committed on humanity by accepting money and bringing about evil devices on humanity, you are not being forgiven because the public does not know the wickedness that you've committed. And you haven't paid your restitution because you made money from your wickedness. If you made $1 million, you have to pay $2 million back or any amount with interest upon that $1 million that you took from your wicked inventions, and tell the public clearly what you have done. So shame on them, because I know they're doing it. So getting back to what we're saying, the government has forgotten to tell you that they own YouTube. They own everything. The government in this discussion, in these fake fines that YouTube will say they are accruing, has forgotten to tell you that the government prints money freely, writes out a check from a printing press, puts ledgers in computers and calls it money. They've forgotten to tell you that also. So where is that leading to? So right now the uploading of videos on YouTube is free. In the next couple of months or years down the line, because people are using YouTube to tell the truth, the government is going to try to control it. The only way they can control it is by money, because money is a form of control. So what they'll say in the future is that YouTube will say, we are getting so many losses because people are not adhering to COPPA. So right now, we have to bill you for uploading a YouTube video on our platform. So when that happens, the amount of uploads will now decrease, and the amount of truth that people can share on this platform as YouTube right now will be wiped away by COPPA. So the only people who will now have legal right to upload videos and have the money to pay for them are all the government agents which are on YouTube, because 95% of people on YouTube are actually government agents. Those who come into your comments and act like the real people, they are government agents. They are paid to infiltrate your mind. So that's why we switched our comments off. We allowed comments on our videos for a while so people could contact us. All right? Even though we knew that they were government agents pretending. They buy the books, they buy the DVDs, they go watch, and then whatever information we put out, they go to counter out that information. So for example, if we put up a link for you to watch on the screen, they'll go and delete those links or change information on whatsoever we shared, so that when you watch the video today, you won't see what we did capture at that moment in time. So that's why on every video that we make, we start off by telling you the date. So the date for this roll call series, we stated it on roll call part 1. We're not stating it on every roll call series after that. For this particular series, we stated the date on which we made the video, so you would know when something was changed at that point that we captured the video for you. So this COPPA rule by YouTube is all a fraud. And people, let me make you understand something. You see all the social media you're using today, Twitter, Facebook, or whatever social media that you're using, which is actually free. In a couple of years, the same angle that they're using with COPPA on YouTube will be the same thing that they are going to use on those social media. They are going to find Facebook, because right now you hear Facebook gets fined a lot, Twitter gets fined a lot, but the government has forgotten to tell you that they own Facebook and Twitter. So you always hear Facebook in the news and Google in the news, because these are all ploys to counter truth. But people are not aware because people are dumb and stupid. They can't think for themselves. They refuse to follow common sense, logic, and reasoning. Why is that? Because they refuse the knowledge of the Creator. So in the next couple of years, using the angle that Facebook and Twitter are getting fines, then they are going to start charging you for using Facebook. So if you're uploading a picture or you have an account, you have to pay for it, because money is used to control the population for being able to have access to the truth. So when that happens, the only people who will be able to upload stuff to YouTube and social media will be government agents. And therefore, the truth that a lot of people were sharing before will become obsolete because people will not be able to pay. So that's why the reason government today tells you they're increasing minimum wage, all right? And the next couple of weeks after that, the prices of food and everything go up. The prices of rent go up because money is a tool to control you from getting to the truth. Because if they make you spend money on all these things, you won't have enough to do anything. So internet services prices go up. The bills for your phone bills go up. Prices of everything go up. And then the paycheck remains the same. The minimum wage is only raised on TV or radio, audio raising. But it's not actually real because the prices of everything go up, the prices of gas. So by the time you are done spending money on all this, you will not have money to pay to upload a video on Facebook or Twitter or any social media or YouTube. And the only people who have the money to do so are government agents. And then the truth that's being shared all around the world will be cut out. And that is how the public will slowly be social engineered to continue to receive lies and the artificial intelligence chip, which aim is to serve the albino people, anybody with straight hair who are getting weaker and infertile every year. We're going to get to that later. But for now, we just want to show you how this whole thing on COPPA is.
Taking her to the I didn't get so Mr. Funkmaster, yo be that's who made taking her to the I didn't get so Mr. Funkmaster, yo be that's who many you know. Taking her to the I didn't get so Mr. Funkmaster, yo be that's who made taking her to the I didn't get so Mr. Funkmaster, yo be There's too many, you know. There's too many, you know. Taking her to the. This is cat. Ain't even been some Mr. Funkmaster. There's too many, you know. Taking her to the. This is cat. Ain't even been some Mr. Funkmaster. There's too many, you know. Taking her to the this is cat. Ain't been some Mr. Funkmaster. Yo, be there's too many. Taking her to the this is cat. Ain't been some Mr. Funkmaster. Yo, be there's too many, you know.
Government is the one who's responsible for making your children to be the way they are. For example, when you go to school, the government abuses your children. You see it on TV. You see how teachers abuse children sexually. And every time this is painted across on TV. All right? And meanwhile, these teachers never get punished. They just get changed from school to school and continue doing the same thing. Because once your children are immoral and corrupt, then there is no chance that they can stand up to these wicked devices of government. So that is why this whole entire roll call series is dedicated to children. Because I have to say this, and I have to make people understand this. No child asked to be born into this world. When you were laying up with whosoever you were laying up and moaning on your bed, that child did not ask to be here. You brought that child here. So you have to be responsible for that child from the day that he or she is born till the day she dies. That nonsense of when your child is 18 years old, you kick him out of the house or her out of the house and say, go be a man or a woman. That is wickedness. You brought that child into this world. He or she did not ask to be here. You have to be responsible for that child till the day that child dies or till the day you die. No child asks to be in this wicked world. You brought that child here. You cannot throw that child out of your house at 18 years of age. You are responsible for bringing her or him here into this world. Take care of her. Take care of those children. Because people don't understand that. Go study your Bible. What did Abraham do with his son Isaac? He took care of that child. He even married a wife for him. And when he died, he gave everything to Isaac as his child. He took care of all his children. And parents today bring children into the world when you are moaning and groping at each other on your bed and you produce a child. When the child gets to 18, you kick him or her out of the house. What sort of wickedness is that? You better wake up and realize that you're being wicked. Wicked to humanity. Take care of your children. You're responsible for them. You brought them into this world. So this video is dedicated, the whole entire roll call, to all the children of the world, unborn or not, which the government is deliberately corrupting. Because if they were not doing so, people like Puff Daddy here, whose twin children, who you actually think are girls, are two boys. And that's the reason why we believe that Kim Porter died. You know, people start wickedness because it's alluring. Wickedness has benefits. Do not be confused. Wickedness has benefits. There are people who are wicked and are very successful in life. They have all the money, they have everything they need because the government loves wickedness. So the more wicked you are, the more benefits they get. They only punish scapegoats to make us to continually believe in this false system of lies and injustices. They don't punish those wicked, small, wicked people at the lower ranks just because they are trying to be upstanding people of society. It's for you to continue to believe in this system of wickedness so you never stand up to it because it's all run by Satan. So people can get involved in wickedness, and after a while it becomes heavy for them, and when they try to get out of it, they get killed. So when you start being wicked, you have to remember the consequences, that there is an end to it. This is what happened with Kim Porter. This is our belief that she died because it was heavy on her heart on what she did to her twin boys, which they were transgender to girls. And because she was becoming a nuisance, they had to snuff her out because she probably wanted to change. She probably wanted to come to the public and say, this is what I did to my children. So they had to snuff her out. There is no way that woman would have died at the age of 47 years. She had all the money. She had all the health care. She had everything. No way. So the government has set up the system in such a way that wickedness can prevail. And do you know the people they are using to accomplish this wickedness so much? Albinos, anybody with straight hair. Because they are genetically dumb. They can't think. So the only thing they know is how to follow instructions. Let me give you a typical example so you guys can understand what I'm saying. So let's say, for example, that there is a hospital and you're working in a hospital. All right? Okay, let's just knock out a hospital because that scenario is not going to be so right for this discussion. Let's say, for example, that you have work in an organization. Okay? And that organization requires, it's a law, that if you have to go to the bathroom, you can't spend more than 10 minutes in a bathroom. I want you to understand how the system of wickedness works. The scenario here is that this organization is the government. That's what you have to understand from the scenario right here. So the organization makes a law. If you go to the bathroom, that you have to spend 10 minutes. All right? They put an albino because they know albinos are genetically dumb, as we're going to show you with facts. Because throughout history, black people have been called dumb, and they have believed it, even though no facts was available to show that they were dumb. There's a reason why for that. Because the whole entire intelligence of the world, whatsoever you use, is run on black intelligence by white supremacy. And more specifically, let me put it right, it's run on African intelligence, because Africans are the most intelligent and smartest people in the world. Now someone is going to ask the question, how are Africans the smartest and most intelligent people in the world? Let's explain that so you can get this. Number one, Africans have sunlight. Is the only continent in the world which constantly has the sun. If you are in Northern America or anywhere outside of Africa, you have certain times that you can have full sunlight, and that's only during the summer. So let's explain this with a map so you guys can see what we're talking about. So here's the map that we want to try to explain so you can understand why Africans are the most intelligent people in the world. The farther you get out of Africa, if you were not born and you did not grow up there, the less smarter you become. And if you are an albino, you have no intelligence at all except what you're taught, because the central nervous system does not have enough to think. So why are Africans the most smartest people in the world? So let's explain this. If the intelligence quotient doesn't exist, we're just using these words as an example, is labeled from 1 to 2,000, okay? Africans would be at 2,000 and above. People who grow up and were born in Africa. Because to be African, you must have to be born and you who grew up in Africa. We're not talking about being African by being born in another continent and just lay claim because your parents live there. I'm saying being African means that you were born and you grew up in Africa. So the way this works is this. The reason why Africans are the most intelligent is because of the sunlight, number one. Okay? So the picture that you're looking at the screen right here, you will see that these lines in which the sun travels through the earth, all these three lines pass through Africa. They do not pass through any other continent. So for example, in Africa, you have these lines of Tropic of Capricorn, the equator, and Tropic of Cancer, where the sun travels through every year. It only travels through Africa. When you come to South America, you only have Tropic of Capricorn and the equator. The Tropic of Cancer is totally missed. When you come to North America, you only have the Tropic of Cancer. When you go to Europe, you only have the Tropic of Cancer. You go to India, you have the Tropic of Cancer. The equator just passes through and misses the whole continent of India and Asia. When you come to Australia, they only have the Tropic of Capricorn. So the most sunlight you have, the greater intelligence you do have. Because everything is dependent on the sunlight. So for example, when you eat your food, how do plants make food for you to eat? How do they get all these nutrients? From the sun. So the more sunlight you have, the more intelligent you become, because you're getting all the benefits. So as the sun helps plants to produce food, the more the sun touches your body, it regenerates your brain cells, it regenerates your bones, it regenerates your impulses, it makes you to have more carbon. The more carbon you produce, the more intelligent you become. So that is why intelligence, to be intelligent, you have to be built for it. Now let's ask a question now. Who do you think has the most carbon in the whole entire world among all black people? Africans.
The funk master, yo be that's who made taking her to the so Mr. Funk Master, yo be that's who many you know.
Shout to all the real niggas. soak up the sun like a sponge. Dance for the rain, we are one. All of the elements with all of the resonance. I like the truth and the facts out there. Let's turn the White House to a glass house. Dance for the rain, we are one. All of the elements with all of the resonance. I like the truth and the facts out there. Let's turn the White House to a glass house.
So we always want to show you everything we say with proven facts, so it doesn't just look like we're just randomly tossing words out and calling people names without backing it up with facts. So we're on a website here to show you so that you can see for sure that Africans are the most intelligent and smartest people in the world because they have all the sunlight necessary that they need. We're going to read from this website and we're going to leave a link for you to go read up yourself. Now, we're not going to read everything because, as usual, Albanic supremacy always imputes lies to throw people off from reading what they ought to understand, because when you start reading this particular page here, it's going to start by telling you that the sun does hurt you with ultraviolet rays, which is all false. The sun does not hurt anybody. When you're under the sun, your body is constantly receiving energy, impulses. It's working optimally. So that's what dehydrates you, and you need water for the electrolytes to move in your body and carry all the energy that the sun is discharging to you. So let's read it up now. It says here, the sun. So we're not going to read everything. We're going to skip the part that's false and just read what matters, okay? It says, the sun's ultraviolet radiation offers some health benefits too, such as boosting production of essential vitamin D and improving mood. Today, May 17, a report in Cell adds enhanced learning and memory to UV's unexpected benefits. So that means what they're saying, you know, science, the false, wicked science of Albanic supremacy tells you that the sun hurts you, that the ultraviolet radiation hurts you. But as you can see here, it says, today, May 17, a report in Cell adds enhanced learning and memory to UV's unexpected benefits. UV here means ultraviolet radiation, which they say it hurts. Then all of a sudden now they're saying it has unexpected benefits. Let's continue reading. Researchers have discovered that in mice, exposure to UV light activates a molecular pathway that increases production of the brain chemical glutamate. So there is a direct relation between the sunlight and your brain. And Africans get the most sunlight because they are continually under that exposure at every season in the year. Unlike everybody else who gets it at a particular point in time in the year. Let's continue reading. It says, the subject is of strong interest because it provides additional support for the recently proposed theory. It's not a theory, it's fact. They've known this for a very long time, but they just want to make it look like it's something new. All right? It says, the subject is of strong interest because it provides additional support for the recently proposed fact of ultraviolet light's regulation of the brain and central neuroendocrine system. Can you see that? The sun affects your brain. It affects your memory. It affects how intelligent you are. And the people with the greatest amount of carbon to receive all what the sunlight offers, as you heard in that Styles P song, is Africans. 24 hours, all round the year. The smartest, most intelligent people in the world because of the sunlight and the full fund of nutrients that they have in the earth. The people at the top know this. But for dummies, because they don't want you to know that the whole entire, all right, intelligence or whatever that's being invented is run on African intelligence, produced by Africans. They tell you that Africans are dumb, stupid chimpanzees and monkeys. Why do they say that? So the general African population will not know that it is their intelligence that is being used to run the world. And it's also a deception because when they do this, they make Africans leave Africa and come to other continents all around the world. Because when they leave Africa and come to other continents, their intelligence can be used in those continents to invent so many things. And then there are very specific Africans who work for white supremacy. So in order for us not to know that it's African intelligence, that's why Africa is painted in such a bad, shady light. So that even Africans themselves believe they're dumb and stupid. That's how ridiculous this system is. Even Africans believe they're dumb and stupid. And blacks believe that Africans are dumb and stupid. Everybody else believes that because they don't want you to know how this system works. That white supremacy pays certain Africans for their intelligence and use it to run the world. And they have created this system for benefits. So they paint Africa in a shady light. Meanwhile, they get everything they need from there. The resources to do whatever you want. All comes from Africa. The human resources. It's a great setup which makes Africans, the general African population, to believe they are dumb. So they keep seeking to move outside of Africa and bring their intelligence and also bring the melanin, the carbon, because melanin is actually carbon. It's just a false name. When you hear the word melanin, melatonin, it means carbon. Since the government does not want you to know that it's carbon, they give it the false name of melanin and melatonin. The more carbon you have, because we are all carbon-based organisms, the more intelligent you are. And the people with the highest form of carbon from birth are Africans, if they were born and they grew up in Africa. Now, the second reason why Africans are that intelligent is because Africa has the most arable land on earth for agriculture. It has the complete fauna of earth in terms of plants and animals. So Africans are eating of the very best food. But the government is constantly poisoning them because they are making them to shift away from their agricultural practices to being taught, to believing that being like an albino is the best way for them. Because why is that? Because when that happens, the general African population becomes much more weaker and will not know the Africans that are in the middle of them who are making white supremacy what it is. That's where the system works. So when we say that Africans are the most intelligent people in the world, we are not just saying it to make you believe that we just want to give some credibility to some chimpanzees and monkeys, which you have come to believe, and children walking around naked with flies in their faces, that we are just trying to say something good about them. We are telling you and showing you with facts. So, like we said earlier, if there is an intelligence quotient, if such a thing exists, and is measured from 0 to 2,000, Africans are at 2,000 and above. That's not the limit. It goes above of that because they are constantly feeding off the sun and the good nutrients that they have every day. Constantly getting more intelligent. So the less sunlight you have in these other continents and nations, the less smart you are. So, as we were trying to explain, Africans have 2,000 and above. If it's measured from 0 to 2,000 on the intelligence quotient lane, Africans are 2,000 and above. Other black people are at 1,000. They can't get past that. Why? Because they don't have enough sunlight and don't have enough nutrients. So if you notice, black Americans tend to get bigger and fatter. Why is that the case? Because there's a lack of complete nutrients in America. The soil cannot produce enough food to keep you healthy. And they also have less sunlight. The only time North America gets sunlight is during the summertime. The rest of the time it's mild. It's not enough. So other black people, since none of them get as much sunlight as Africans do are at 1,000 in the scale of intelligence. Africans are 2,000 and above. Now, if you're an albino, you are at 200 in that scale genetically, because one, you do not have enough carbon in your body. Because when you are an albino, what usually happens is this. Anybody who's straight hair, anybody who is an albino, they do not have enough carbon. So now one of the things that we have to make you understand in all this is because a lot of people think that inbreeding might be something normal, because if you are a Christian and you have read your Bible and seen Adam and Eve, there's always a nagging question in the world that you would have to say something to the fact that we were produced of inbreeding. That means we had Adam's children procreating with one another, all right? And then we came born into this world. So if someone is inbreeding, they're only doing a practice that Adam was associated with, because it seems that we came into the world through inbreeding. That means siblings had sex with one another, and therefore we were born. But people, the truth is this: the Bibles that you read, every translation of it was done by Roman Christianity so many years ago. They falsely translated the Bible and did not actually include the truth of how we came to be from Adam and Eve. So they left that place vaguely open for us to interpret ourselves, because this was done to promote rabbinic supremacy. That is the truth. So, we were not born of inbreeding. The creation of the world, the creation of its population, did not happen as a result of inbreeding of any of Adam and Eve's children. The only person who ever did some form of inbreeding, as stated in the Bible, specifically very clearly for you to see, was Lot and his 2 daughters. That is the only person who formed a tribe through inbreeding, which was Lot and his 2 children, which will be the most likely example of where today's rabbinic people would have come from. Because if Lot and his 2 children had sex, his 2 daughters, it would mean that it was from that particular action that it became a culture and tradition which is practiced by Asians and Indians, that is okay to marry a sibling, a cousin, or a father can even inbreed with their daughters and children. We were not produced through inbreeding, because the Romans translated the Bibles that we have today so many centuries ago. So, we have a Bible which tells you the whole truth. But people are not interested in truth, so they'll never get to that part. Because until the population gets interested in knowing the story, the true story, then we can tell you everything. So inbreeding genetically makes people dumb. Because every time that someone procreates with somebody who has straight hair, and you have straight hair, you are drawing from the same genetic material. You're not drawing from a different genetic material, so you have very less to draw upon. So for example, it's more like if you have a brother and sister, and that's all you have in the world, all right? You don't have any other members of family. The only thing you can get is whatever your brother or sister gives you. And that's all you got. So do not let the world lie to you that carbon, which is falsely called melanin and melatonin, is something that you don't need. We are all carbon-based animals. That's why everything in the world goes or turns black. When you burn wood, what does it turn? Black, charcoal. When you burn anything, what does it turn? It turns black. When you bleed after a while, what does the blood clot turn to? Black, because everything in life contains carbon. The more carbon you have, the better you are. The less carbon you are, the more sickly you become. And that's just plain old fact. So the government, the wicked medical institution, always lies to you that the sun can hurt you. The sun does not hurt anybody. The most the sun will do to you is dehydrate you because you don't have enough water, because the sun is constantly regenerating your body. So your body is constantly active in the sun because it's getting all the energy from the sun. It's getting all the nutrients from the sun. So the body is constantly working. Because it's constantly working, it constantly needs water. Because water is the electrolyte, is what moves the electrolyte in the body. So since you're under the sun, you constantly need water because your body is regenerating faster. It's building, it's getting better. That's why our great-grandparents before us lived longer. They were always in the sun. They were farming. They were growing their own crops and feeding themselves. They were always constantly in the sun. So they got better. They were wiser, smarter, stronger. But the wicked system of this world has chased us indoors. So we think that being in an AC house, driving an AC car, and then getting to our AC offices is making you sick. You're not spending enough time in the sun. So they lie to you that melanin or melatonin can be gotten from a drug. So for example, people can sleep and they say it's because you lack melatonin. Melatonin helps you sleep. That's all a lie. Melatonin cannot be gotten from anything except black people. What you get over the counter as melatonin is just some form of weed or marijuana or Indian hemp, whatever you want to call it, that helps you sleep. It's not really melatonin. The wicked medical system just labeled it as melatonin to you, so you believe it. So if you're constantly procreating with an albino and you are an albino, your children are going to come up sick. They are going to have ADHD. And since the government wickedly makes pregnant women, gives them injections and vaccination, makes black women to give birth to children who have ADHD and autism and all sorts of diseases, the understanding has been skewed that ADHD, autism, and all the diseases that affect young children actually affect only people who have straight hair. They purposely poison black women and black children to bring up a statistics so they can cover up what's really going on. So if you're black and your child has any of this central nervous problem, is because you were poisoned from the drugs that you were given during your prenatal care as vitamins or injections or vaccines, purposely by this wicked medical system. So you have to be responsible for your children. Inbreeding brings about albinism. That means parents were procreating with one another and their siblings. Parents were procreating with their children. The siblings are procreating among themselves. So they are constantly drawing from a very small pool of carbon. So it's more like you have $1,000 and $1,000 is all you have. All right? You have nobody to give you any more money. You keep constantly taking from the $1,000 until there's nothing left. And then infertility kicks in. And at the end of the day, you are genetically dumb, which all albinos are, because they've been constantly drawing from the same pool without drawing from anybody else. So the intelligence quotient or the intelligence scale of an albino is 200 and less. And the only thing that leads after that is death. Now, people don't understand that albinism breeds death. I want to show you a typical example. When someone is dead or a corpse, it gets pale, right? The corpse of any human being is pale. The skin color. So the paler you are, it does show that you have a form of death working in you. So if you notice, the albinic population is getting paler and paler with each passing generation and each passing year. Why? Because death is at work. But people don't recognize that. The only thing that's making us not to realize that is because the system which runs the world has put the face of albinism over everything else. So people are constantly seeking to be albinic, which is only going to lead them to death, because they need people to keep seeking to be albinic, especially black people, so that the albinic population can survive. Because the only way an albino can get carbon is by procreating with another black person. And we'll get to that all in a second. So this is why Africans are the most intelligent people in the whole entire world. And albinos are not, because they are not getting enough carbon. Because every time someone is an albino, anybody with straight hair, procreates with another albino, they are procreating with members of the nuclear family. They have close relations. Because as we did explain earlier before this, anybody who's an albino today comes from India and Asia. Iran and Iraq, earlier in history, was known as Northern India. Iran and Iraq were known as Northern India. So everybody albinic today is Indian. They are not European. They are not American. They are not Mexican. They are not South American. They are not Caribbean. They are not Native American or Native Indian. They are not from North Africa. They are not from Australia. They are Indians and Asians. So every time someone procreates with an albino, they are procreating from members of the same family, the nuclear family. So they are constantly not getting enough carbon to draw from. And over a period of time, they get paler. And as they get paler, they get more weak. Infertility kicks in. And then they die. But we'll get into all that later. For now, we were trying to give you a scenario of how the system works, all right, to explain how wickedness is being run using albinism. Because people who are albinos are genetically dumb, so they can't think. The only thing they know how to follow is instructions. And we gave a scenario of the fact an organization makes a law that says, okay, that the bathroom breaks that you needs to be only 10 minutes. And they put an albino as the head of that organization. All right? When that happens, the albino, because they cannot think, they will forget that women have periods. So if a woman goes to the bathroom while she's in a period, she will probably spend more time than 10 minutes. They also forget the fact that some people have a digestive tract that takes longer to be in the bathroom. So they'll spend more than 10 minutes. So because the law has said you can't spend more than 10 minutes in the bathroom, An albino will follow that law to the letter because they don't have enough carbon, which is falsely called melanin and melatonin, to be able to fire enough impulses to think. That is why albinos can dance. That is why they have low muscle mass, because everything is dependent on carbon. The more carbon you have, the more testosterone you do produce in your body, the stronger and better you become. And all this is dependent on the sunlight that you get. And if you haven't been procreating with a sibling or members of your own family or relations. So when this happens, since the albinos cannot think, they're going to be writing up everybody who spends more than 10 minutes in a bathroom because the impulses are not there enough for them to be able to think, to know that if women who are on their periods go to the bathroom, that they are going to spend much more longer, and that people have different digestive tracts which can make them stay in the bathroom much more longer than 10 minutes. So when this happens, the system becomes so wicked and rigid, because even though the albino thinks he's doing right, he's actually doing wrong, because they cannot think. They don't have the ability to. That's just what happens. The same goes for law enforcement agencies. So that's why albinos are upstanding people of keeping the law and making wickedness to even be greater in society than what it is, because they cannot think. And the people who run this world know that. They know that if they give this position to an albino, that he or she is going to treat it as a matter of life or death. For albinos, their jobs, they act like it's a matter of life or death. They treat it like it's their own just because they don't have enough impulses to think. With regular black people who have not been sold out to the system of albino or white supremacy, as they call it, anybody with straight supremacy, they'll think about the fact, oh, this woman might be on a period because they have enough carbon in their bodies to think. People have different digestive tracts, so they won't be writing up everybody. But the system will not allow a black person to do that, because if the person is not sold out to albinism, the person will not naturally be wicked or following laws. So the most jobs, the jobs that you see a lot of albinos have today, in which they think that they are better than everybody else, they are not given those jobs on merit. They are given those jobs because they are actually dumb. They know that they will follow instructions because they cannot think. That's how the system operates. And that's how this wickedness is passed on to the population. And now, since everybody's soaked up into it, even black people, because even though black people have the manpower, the ability to be able to think, there's a difference between having the ability to be able to think and refusing to use it. So can black people be dumb? Yes. Most black people in the world are dumb. But the difference between them and other albinos is that they are not genetically dumb. They have just refused to use their brains to think. Because black people are built to be running at 500,000 miles if they want to. So if you don't drive up to that speed, that's your problem. But albinos are not. They cannot. They are genetically limited. They can't go beyond and above. But yet people are made to believe that they are the smartest people in the world. They are not. It's just that the families who run the world, who know where they get the intelligence from, need them to be in place so that they can continue running the world. They need an albinic population who closely resembles them so they can continue on with this. So a lot of people get offended when they hear things like this, that albinos are genetically dumb. So we want to pose a question to you, because for a very long time, false history and albino supremacy painted through TV, books, the religious system, the media system, has always said that black people are apes, chimpanzees, and monkeys, never discovered anything. And they did not give any sort of facts to back up that statement. So here is the question that we have to ask, because a lot of people get offended by this when we state facts. The question is that you have to ask is this: name one manner of speech or fashion or new dance moves or manner of doing things or manner of talking in popular culture which is attributed to one albino person that we all follow after today. I want you to name one. If you can name one, then you can believe for a fact that black people are dumb and stupid and never discovered anything. But if you cannot name one single thing attributed to popular culture in the way, for example, black people speak, they bring up new sentences and new phrases every day. They bring up new ways of communicating every day, slangs. They bring up new ways of dressing. They bring up new ways of hairstyles. They bring up new ways of dancing, new dance moves coming out every day. And these are all dumb, stupid things that blacks discover every day. If you can find one that's attributed to an albino, then you can believe that black people are dumb and stupid, instead of the opposite way, that if albinos, if we can't find anything in popular culture, no manner of dressing, no manner of speaking, or no new dance moves that can be credited today to an albino, then you must understand that if an albino cannot invent new dance moves, new manners of speech and talking, and new slangs every day, new manner of dressing. For example, black people brought about pants sagging, and now everybody copies that. If no albino can be attributed to have invented any of these simple dumb things which black people invent every day, then it is a fact that albinos are genetically dumb. Because you cannot walk. The right way to do things is that you have to learn how to crawl before you walk. So if you cannot crawl, it means that you cannot walk. If you cannot discover simple, dumb, stupid things which black people discover every day. For example, Kanye West came out and saying something like cray, right? And everybody now says you're cray instead of saying crazy. A new manner of speech. Why was he able to do so? Because he's black. His impulses are firing. So if you can't find any single thing attributed in popular culture in which everybody follows today that's attributed to an albino, it means no albino has discovered anything that has been said that they discovered today. So if you can discover dumb, simple, stupid things, you definitely can discover the higher things of intelligence, like all the space rockets and whatsoever they say has been discovered, the iPhone, the TVs. It means it was not discovered by any albino, because no albino has discovered any new dance move, any manner of speech, a manner of dressing, a manner of talking, or any new Ebonic words which they use as slangs, which would be proof to show that the brain activity of the albino is always working to invent new things. If you couldn't do that, it means you did not invent anything of higher intelligence that requires great brain activity from space rockets to TV to phones to media to whatsoever that you're using today. So there is absolutely no need for you to get mad. We are just stating facts. So with that, let's continue back to what we were saying, that the government deliberately takes your children away from you because the school system that they provided is there to corrupt your children. Because as we explained earlier on roll call 1, the reason for schools is not to teach you anything good. The reason for schools is to make you to be able to propagate the same lies over and over again. So they take your children from you, away from you. The system demands that you put your child in school. All right? They take your children away from you. And for the most part of their lives, for 16 years, which are the most important time of a child's life, where a child's character is formed, the government is busy training them on bullshit. So they can read and write the false lies which they wanted the whole world to believe. Because when the whole world wasn't reading and writing, they were rigid in their beliefs. You couldn't spread false rumors. But since the government now wanted everybody to be able to spread their false rumors, they had to send them to school so they could be able to read and recognize the rumors to spread it. So you are responsible for your children. You cannot, at the end of the day, when they're 18 years, kick them out of the house. You were the one who brought those children here. When you were having sex with whosoever you were having sex, screaming and moaning, that child did not ask to be born. You have to be responsible for that child till the day you die. It doesn't matter if he or she is an adult. You are still responsible because you brought that child here. You set them in this world. So remember that. So let's get back to Sean Combs and Kim Porter and their twins. So Puff Daddy's twins here, it's so sad that someone could do this to their children. If Puff Daddy could do this to his own children, then I must really wonder what he's doing to you guys. Because for you to have the guts to take your own kids and to castrate them as babies, young children, babies who know nothing, they have no idea, and to force them to live in a gender that that's not their gender is the highest form of wickedness I can imagine, because we were all children. So if you can remember that we were all young children, we were all babies. We didn't ask to be here, and someone responsible for you brings you here and then does that kind of wickedness to you. It's quite appalling. And this is what happens to these young children. Let's go to another picture of these kids. And there they are, one of them right here, both of them twins. As you can see right here, these are boys. And this woman allowed this to be done, and this man allowed this to be done to their own children. It's just, I don't know what words to say for it. So this is the reason why COPPA was made by YouTube. Because when we show you such pictures like this, they are going to use the excuse that this is adult content which contains young children, and they're going to take you off. So do you see how twisted this thing is now? So they're trying to cover the fact, because they know for a certain fact that they take young children and that they transgender them, and they go sit in their houses of senates and committees. They practice this organized wickedness upon the population. For us not to expose them, they make this kind of laws so that they can take down this video. So we are showing you an example of COPPA right here. This is the reason why. Because they'll say young children are involved in this video. So they twist the law upside down to cover their own tracks, because they are the ones doing the organized transgendering of children. We have shown you in some American presidents, which we are still going to show you. They are in the White House. They are the ones making all this happen. So let's continue with some more pictures of these children. So these are still the same young children again. And look at them right now. Those are boys, right? Those are boys. And we'll show you with proof. So just hold on. These are little boys. And this would be a wicked grandma and a very wicked woman. And she probably died for it. Because when she now found out what she did, when she couldn't live with it no more, she was becoming a nuisance. She had to be taken out. And that is what we believe happened. So COPPA is making laws to protect information, real information, from coming out to the public on what you're doing, to show you how wicked this system is. YouTube is owned by the government. Another picture of these young children again. You can see they are growing down here. And as you can see, the arms of this young child. We hate to do this, but we have to do it to show you how wicked this system is. The arms of this young child are not following the contours of the body. Because a baby girl born from birth is still a baby girl. She has the skeletal structure. She's not going to grow into the skeletal structure later on in life. She already has it right from the day she was conceived in her mother's womb. This child, these young children, baby boys here, do not have that because they are baby boys. The arms are not following the contours of the body. They are straight up and down like their brother's arms here because they are all males. Can you see that? And as we've explained to you, the reason for transgendering children, first and foremost, is to make them a habitation of demons, is in the worship of Satan, the Trinity, Jupiter, Juno, and Minerva. So when Puff Daddy is getting all the money he has, he is part of the system. And this is the sacrifice they have to make to their God, who is Satan in the Trinity. Let's continue with some more pictures. And here is those young children again. As you can see, this young child has arms that are way too long. And look at the palms of those arms. It's huge because these are boys dressed up as girls. Look at the way this child is trying to place her hands on her waist. And she can't find it because she's placing it at the position of a male waist, straight back of a man. There's no arch in this back. Let's blow this up. There is no arch in this back as it should be for a female. All female children, regardless of age, as we have explained, once they are conceived in the womb, the skeletal structure is marked. It can be changed. All baby girls have an arch in their back. And this is what Puff Daddy's twins do not have. The straight back of a man. And look at how huge and humongous those arms are. Because they are constantly, this is the height of wickedness. These children are constantly in training to act like females when they are male. They have paid people whom Puff Daddy himself will know about, who pays to train these children to look like women when they are male. So they'll tell them how to place their hands. But this young child is trying to place their hands on their waist and can't find it. So he places the hand at where the male waist location is because it's a young male boy. And that is the reason why Kim Porter would have died. So you can't look up to anybody because the whole entire system of leadership is run by Satan and they are all Satanists. They are only deceiving you so you keep believing in their God, which is Satan. They want you to worship their God, Satan, by coercion. So if you have no filter for truth, you're not going after the truth with all your heart, soul. If money is involved, you go after it, you're going to end up in a deception. Because most people think they are waking up, but they are waking up into a deception. The government promotes wickedness, loves wickedness. They want you to be wicked, corrupt, and immoral. That is what we believe would have happened for why this woman, Kim Porter, died at 47. She was probably losing her mind over what she did to her boys. And she had to be taken out because she was a threat to the whole entire system. Because she was probably working on something that would tell you guys the whole truth. She had to be taken out. Because what's going to happen in these days is that the Creator has deemed for us to know the truth. So by any means necessary, the truth is going to come out. You're going to start seeing real public officials, people who have been deep in the system, billionaires and trillionaires, start revealing the truth of what's really going on and who they are, about who the system is. Because no matter what happens, the Creator must come through, so you have evidence that the Creator indeed made this world. So with that, let's continue on with our next gender check. So the next person on our gender check is Andre Holland. You've probably watched Andre Holland, the movie. Well, I don't know if people did watch that movie because it was straight up about some homosexuals. And even though the movie was trying to portray to you that two people were homosexual, one was actually a female masquerading as a male here, Andre Holland. The name of the movie was called Moonlight. You probably watched that, Moonlight. Let's go over some movies Andre Holland has starred in. So Andre Holland has been in such movies as Moonlight, Selma, 42. There's a couple more movies. Let's see what we can find here. Castle Rock, a TV series. American Horror Story. The Nick, very popular on The Nick, if you've watched that before. Black or White, 16,000 Pen, TV series. Nobody's, Burn Notice, Friends with Benefits, Small, Beautiful, Moving Parts, The Rockford Flies, Damages, Lost and Found, USA Love Story, Bright Wars, Last Call, Miracle at St. Anna, Sugar, The News, The Black Donnelly's, Law and Order. So if you really want to get interested in getting all the movies that Andre Holland has starred in, you can go take a look at his movies, or rather her movies, because Andre Holland here is a female, and so many actors and actresses have starred with Andre Holland, and none of them have remotely even joked or mentioned the fact that you're looking at a woman. But Andre Holland is 100% female and not a man. So don't let all the facial hairs we've shown you before, that all the secondary male or female characteristics that you see on people does not make them the gender they claim. Sex is determined by your skeleton. So that's why from dead remains of human bones, scientists can determine this was male and that was female, because sex is determined by the skeleton, not by your genitalia or your secondary male characteristics or secondary female characteristics. It's determined by your skeleton. Let's move on with some pictures of Andre Holland right here. So here's a picture of Andre Holland with this man. This man's name is Clive Owen. We're going to talk about Clive Owen later on a video that's called Children of Men. All right. He's going to be a point in this particular video. But for now, we just want you to understand that Clive Owen here has never made mention of the fact that Andre Holland, whom he starred with in the TV series called The Nick, was actually female. He's probably your hero. He's probably going to say something and you believe is the truth until they start telling you what's really going on. As we are saying it to you right here, then you can actually know is the truth. So Andre Holland here is 100% female. There is an arch in that back. And here is the elongated, right? Elongated pelvis of a female, because a female has a longer, wider butt. So the butt travel, which starts all beneath the rib cage, above her navel, travels longer all the way down. And this is the butt of a woman. It's not the butt of a man. A butt of a man starts quickly and ends abruptly. It's short. So a butt of a man would end right around here. But this one travels all the way down because this is all female. Because Andre Holland is 100% female and not a man in any way. Let's go to another picture of Andre Holland. And same thing here with Andre Holland. As you can see, the arms are trying to follow the contours of the body, spreading wider from underneath those elbows. As you can see right here, let's see if we can blow this picture up as much as we can. and spreading wider because this is all the wide pelvis of a female, because Andrea Holland is 100% female. Another picture of Andrea Holland, and here's Andrea Holland. You can see the way he sits. That is how a woman crosses her legs, with so much thighs being exposed because the hips are wider. This is the way Andrea Holland is sitting like a female. And Clive Owen here never remotely mentioned that fact, that he's been working with a woman pretending to be a man. So if you watch the movie Moonlight, which I hope nobody watched because I haven't watched it, I just read about it, in which they were trying to tell you that people, or black people, grew up to be homosexuals. Andrea Holland here was played as a man, but was actually a transgender, a female. Why is that? Because it's wickedness that your government promotes on you. They lie to you about everything. They lie to you about what this world looks like. Because a lot of people believe that the world is flat. Is it flat? Yes. Is it shaped the way they tell you it is? Flat? No. People don't even know what the world really looks like. The government hides it from you. So they promote the flat earth theory, and a lot of people get soaked into it. It's a deception. It's flat, but it's not the way they make it to appear to you. It's totally something else. Because if you knew really the way this world was shaped, it would shock you beyond your wildest dreams in anything that you've ever known. Because you would literally see the Creator sitting and watching you. That's how the world is shaped. You would literally see the Creator sitting. You see Him every day, but you don't know. People are not interested in the truth, so we can't tell them. And they'll say, well, we're holding information. When we tell them, get the books, get the DVD, and no real information, they won't get it. They think the little they know, that they know something. You are only sinking into deception. And when you die, and the Creator says, there were people who were trying to tell you the truth. And one of them were on Tricks of the S-Trade channel, a whole team put together. Because as we said, and as I said, I am not connected. I am not anybody who has lineage to the people whom the Creator uses to tell the truth. I know a couple of them. I know a whole lot of them. I know a whole tribe of them. That's how we know what we know, because we worked with them. All right, let's continue with some more pictures of Andrea Holland here. Here's Andrea Holland again. As you can see, there's an arch in that back because Andrea Holland is 100% female. Let's move up to another picture. Andrea Holland here, as you can see. Can you see that? See that? Those are hips, and see how acute the Q angle here. But they cut off this picture so you wouldn't see the whole thing, because this is what the government does. They don't want you to know what you're looking at. They give you shady pictures here and there because Andrea Holland here is 100% female. Even the way she's sitting with this thigh spread, the round full thighs of a female, because Andrea Holland is 100% female. All right, let's go to another picture of Andrea Holland. And here again, you can still see that sit. See how fabulous that thigh is. That's not the thigh of a man. That is the thigh of a female, because usually the way a female's thigh is always thick and fuller as it goes towards the hips. It looks like a pencil. So as it comes down, it looks much more like a pencil tip towards the knee area. Fatter and fuller as it goes up. And this is what Andrea Holland is exhibiting here, because Andrea Holland is 100% female. Let's go to another picture of Andrea Holland. And you can see that even in the mannerisms, because you see a lot of homosexuals try to act female, all right? And when they try to do that, it comes off. Why is that? No matter the acting, it still comes off and you can tell that this is a man. It's because the skeletal structure is not a female skeletal structure. It's a man's own. Same here with Andrea Holland. Even with the way that she's acting, it's all effeminate because the skeletal structure is female. So when you see some people act that way, they are actually female. It's just like this person in the group that had Justin Timberlake with. The group was called NSYNC. And Lance Bass, who says that he's a homosexual, is actually a woman. So when Lance Bass acts in such an effeminate manner, you will be confused and like, wow, so a man could actually act like a female. And almost the mannerisms are that of a woman. You couldn't tell the difference. But it's actually a woman pretending to be a man. Lance Bass, we featured her before on a series. So let's move on to the next picture of Andre Holland here. And this is Andre Holland with this woman called Octavia Spencer. Octavia Spencer is a popular advocate for so many things that influence our world. She's never one day remotely told you that Andre Holland is a female. So what kind of truth is she telling you? Or what kind of truth is she standing for? So all the upstanding citizens that you see in Hollywood, whatever their names be, Maya Angelou down to the last person, they are all frauds. They never told you one single truth. They told you the truth that will make you believe that man can be good, instead of the fact that the only person who can be good is our Creator. Nevertheless, what we wanted you to see right here in this picture is that Andre Holland's arms follows the contours of the body. An hourglass figure, as you can see here. The arms are hugging the curves of the body. See the way it flows even down to the palms of the hands, the same way the palms of the hands of Octavia Spencer here hangs, because there are two females. See that? Follows the contours of the body. The hourglass figure that Andre Holland exudes, because she is a female and is not a man. Don't let the beard deceive you. That can all be manufactured through the taking of hormones. Let's move on to another picture of Andre Holland. Andre Holland here with another person in Hollywood. You can see that arch in that back, the female curve, Q angle below the crotch, because Andre Holland is 100% female. Another picture of Andre Holland, same thing. See the way it sits, the thigh cross, the big round fabulous thighs of a female. That is what Andre Holland has, because she's 100% female. And all this your government is producing, and yet they bring up COPPA so they can use it to cover up their wickedness. Because when we show you children that they are transgending, they can pull it down in the name of the fact that we are putting up children in an adult video. You see that? Let's move on to another picture of Andre Holland. Same here, Andre Holland with another person. This person's name is Suzanne Kelechi Watson. I think she's an actress also. She's never told you one day that Andre Holland is a woman. And you probably look up to her. You enjoy watching her TV shows, and a standing member of society who speaks the truth probably. All lies. They are purveyors of wickedness upon the population. Satanists. People still don't get this, but let's continue on. Andre Holland again, just trying to show you that this is all female with an arch in the back. Can you see the difference in what we tried to show you? A female has the space in between her arms will always be like a soft arrow pointing towards the torso of the body. With males, it's going to be shaped like a diamond. So that's what you're seeing right here. It's pointing towards the torso of the body, because Andre Holland is 100% female, another man. Let's go to another picture of Andre Holland. Andre Holland here with a group and cast of certain actors in a movie. This movie here is actually called Moonlight, the movie that we talked about. None of these actresses, including this lady here, has ever told you that Andre Holland is 100% male. You know all these actors, right? This one is a very popular actor by the name of, let's find out his name first. The name of this actor is Mahershala Ali. You would have probably watched him if you watched the first episodes of Netflix in the series that was called Luke Cage. He starred there. He's a very popular actor in Hollywood. He's currently supposed to be rebooting the Blade series And this man has never, ever remotely mentioned the fact that this woman right here, or this man rather, is actually a woman pretending. And he's going to say that he himself is an upstanding member of society. Same with this lady right here. Don't quite remember the lady's name, but I think she sings in a lot of music videos. She's an artist actually. Same with this actors right here. You probably know all of them. They never mention the fact that this woman, that this man, even in a joke, oh, we think that Andre Holland here is a female pretending to be a man. They never mentioned that. They didn't even sniffer at it. Not even a sniff. All right, let's continue on. So another picture of Andre Holland right here. As you can see, the female form shows so much. That's the crutch. You can see that V-shaped crutch of a female because Andre Holland is 100% female. And you can see that the Q angle is below the crutch because this is all woman. Andre Holland, 100% female. Let's go to another picture of Andre Holland. Andre Holland here with Denzel Washington. Oh my goodness. The man who says that if he could do it all over again, that he would be a preacher. Is this how preachers are supposed to act? Who are supposed to speak the truth? And he is here parlaying with a woman, and he never mentioned the fact that this man is a woman, lying to you that he is anything else but a woman. Denzel Washington. You can't trust any of these people. They are all homosexuals and homosexually related. Because the families that control the world need them to be homosexuals so they can have some sort of control over them. Because people don't understand this. Homosexuality is a form of control. So they need to parlay around with other homosexuals and transgenders to prove their loyalty to the affiliates who make them rich. Case in point, Denzel Washington. So when you see all those soft mannerisms of Denzel Washington, it's actually a homosexual acting. No man is going to act that way. Let's continue on with some more pictures of Andre Holland here. Andre Holland, as you can see, the sitting, but this is clear as night and day. We don't need to say anything else. See how from the elbows, the hips spread wider, because when a woman sits in a chair, the hips just spread out. They need room. And this is what Andre Holland is exhibiting, because she is a woman. It's not a man. Wide hips. See that? All the way up. All right. Another picture of Andre Holland here. Still, you can see that this is all woman. And with that, let's continue on to our next gender check. So our next gender check right here is Rod Stewart. A lot of people grew up listening to Rod Stewart. My parents listened to Rod Stewart. Such a shame that all this while it was a woman pretending to be one. As you can see, this great arch, a C-shaped arch, and the long butt of a female, pelvic butt, because Rod Stewart is 100% female. Is never a man. And there are so many people in Hollywood, so many people who have met Rod Stewart. They have never mentioned this fact. Why is there such a great conspiracy? Because Satan runs this world, and he doesn't want you to see the creator that you see every day. Because people don't know what the world is shaped like. Creator is really just sitting and looking at you every day. They don't want you to recognize his presence. But you guys don't know, because you guys don't know what you look at when you don't understand the way this world is shaped. Just crazy. But let's continue on with some more pictures of Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart again here. As you can see, we already explained this. When a woman sits, her pelvis, the space in between her crotch, is going to be shaped like a U. And this is what Rod Stewart is exhibiting. As you can see right here, there doesn't look like there's any male appendage. It looks like a female genital area, as it usually looks, like a camel toe. And this is what Rod Stewart is exhibiting, because Rod Stewart is 100% female and not a man. Let's continue on with some more pictures. Rod Stewart again, as you can see, the long pelvis of a female. There's an arch in that back, even though this clothing is covering it up. But that's where the pelvis starts for a female and travels all the way down, because Rod Stewart is 100% woman and not a man in any way. And everybody in Hollywood hasn't told you this fact. Continuing on, look at that. Rod Stewart, 100% female and not a man in any way, shape or form. Can you see that? That's a woman, because Rod Stewart is one. Another picture of Rod Stewart. You can see from the back. There's no denying, because when we tell you this, that when you look at a woman from behind, there is no mistaking the fact. Because if you get confused about what you see in front, when you go behind and look at a female, you're definitely going to know that's a woman. Because the Q angle is going to start acutely, just slightly above the bum line, which is Rod Stewart's bum line right here, and you can see the Q angle starts there. And the way he's cocking those hips shows you that it's a female. Even with the way the arms are following the contours of the body right here, all woman, because Rod Stewart is 100% female and not a man in any way, shape or form. And look at Rod Stewart again here. Look at the great arch in that back, a C-shaped arch, because the pelvis of a woman is tilted forward. So the arch in the back always shows, because it's childbearing hips that make the woman. It's the childbearing pelvis that makes the woman a woman. The skeleton determines your gender, not the genitalia, your male or secondary characteristics. It's your skeleton. And this is what Rod Stewart is exhibiting right here, because Rod Stewart is 100% female. And all these people around her never told you that fact. What a sick world we live in. And here's Rod Stewart again, arch in the back, trying to kick a ball. And as you can see, it's kicking it like a female. The female form exuding and showing that Rod Stewart is 100% female. Let's continue on.